Hello and welcome back to NATO Plays Minecraft. So here we are outside the house. There have been a few little changes. First of all, I've put in a little bit of a pathway here with just some gravel and grass just to sort of break it up. It gets more solid as it gets towards where the bridge starts. I've also put in the bridge top level and put in some lighting. We have down here the rail line section. We also have a creeper over here. No, go away. Ah! Okay. Yeah, and put in the lighting, which is glowstone. I have yet to do, as you can see, the canopies, the overhangs, but I'm relatively happy with this. It's extremely similar to the design that I showed in my creative world, and it took quite a few stacks of smooth stone and smooth stone bricks. Not as many as you might imagine, actually, but at least a double chest worth of cobble, I think, to start with. Almost ate the zombie flesh there, but no. I've also added these little wings to the entranceway. I'm not sure how I'm going to detail the edges at the moment. I might round them off slightly, but I'm not convinced about that yet. There's also a minor detail here where it steps down to approach the water. There's also a bit more lighting with glowstone lamps. I felt the glowstone lamps worked a bit more as you approached off the bridge because it kind of marked a transition between the transition space, which is kind of it's not temporary as much as it's sort of menial and it's a process. Rather, this is a structure, a permanent lived-in structure. I mean, this ragged edge here doesn't really read to that, so I'm going to have to tidy that up. However, behind each one of these lamps is a switch which powers it, as long as it's actually in the right direction. I may at some point rig these up to a daylight sensor somewhere so that they turn on only during the night time. I'm also still unsure about the whole blank sides of this. It's growing on me slightly because it's very not impractical. That's the wrong word. It's very simple, yet the scale of it and the size of it is very impressive, and it kind of... Go away, go away. It reads very strong with its simplicity. It's very impressive, I feel, if I say so myself. I still have to put in the archway, and I've still got to put in the pedestals, or canopies, or roofed sections. I'm going to head over to the creative world just to have a chat about the current possible designs and take a look at what I've decided to do. So here we are in the creative world. As you can see, there's been a small change. The original third design, which was very much like so, is no longer here. Basically, I got some feedback that people thought that this design was too simple, was too modern and minimalist compared to the bridge and the house and the sort of the setting. So I decided to get rid of that one. And I also had some feedback about the first one, which was there wasn't really enough contrast in this. Because the materials were similar, it didn't really read as a canopy. It kind of read as an extension of the bridge, and it didn't really work. With this one, this was better, but it was frankly just too complicated. There's too much going on in this image, in this picture, in this model, this design, sorry, and it would actually probably be quite difficult to recreate also. Sorry about that. And then this is the third design, or the fourth design, which I'm probably going to go with actually. It's a simplified version of this one. As you can see, it mostly consists of two sort of platforms with an interconnecting section and some glowstone, and glowstone being hung from the ceiling. I like this one bit of chain. It's not chain, it's iron bars. I like this partly because it makes it feel more kind of created. It makes it feel more realistic almost. That I'm not so keen on. Whereas this, it's sort of recessed in and then surrounded with these slabs. It kind of looks like it shouldn't really go there, it shouldn't really fit there, it's sort of been stuck on. Whereas this, again, while it does look like it's been stuck on, there's this intermediary, this interface of the iron bars that kind of identifies, yes, this is a lamp, this is not part of the bridge. It's consistent with the concept of bridge because you want to light it, but it's not inherent to that structure. Also, the profile from the top compared to this profile is a lot smoother, and it mirrors the shape of the bridge a lot better than this one, mostly because of these corners here. Originally I think I had it like this, but the junction between this upside down stairs and this normal right way upstairs was extremely messy, which led me to take them out in the first design. So I'm probably going to go with this design. It's also raised slightly higher than these two, and it has again the slight banding in the post to give it a bit more character. The height is quite good because even if you're here, the next bridge shouldn't block the next canopy shouldn't block your view of the arch. But we'll see. So I'm going to head back over to the main world, and we're going to start putting some of these in, if I can remember how I built them. Which I think I can. They're pretty simple. They're mostly just stairs and slabs stacked on top of each other. Anyway, I will see you in the real world. And here we are again. So before I do anything else, I'm actually going to go run off and go to sleep because it's getting dark. I've yet to find anything spawning on the bridge now that I've added the glowstone. When I originally had it, there were all sorts spawning on there. I was very fortunate that I didn't get anything blowing up. Came very close on a couple of times when I was building the edging, the stairs around the edge, because things were spawning underneath and I didn't quite realise that, and they would follow me down that wasn't an organic, that was a mob drop. They would follow me back down towards the house when I was leaving, and they would nip round the side and catch me without me realising they were there. Which essentially meant that I had a creeper following me into the house, which I only just managed to kill before he blew all of this area up. Which was a bit silly of me, but these things happen. I actually have way too much wood here for this. Not a particularly big part of the project. But we'll make some more slabs. I don't actually think I need any actual wood blocks. So I'll put the planks themselves away, and we'll work on Yeah, we'll just work with the stairs. I'm probably going to need a... Well, actually no. I'll put the planks away. I shouldn't need that many stairs, in theory. I'm also going to pick up our glowstone. And let's make some iron bars. Now, we only need 10 of these. Because there's only 10. There's only 10 canopies to be built. Oh, we also need some smooth stone slabs, some stone slabs, and we're going to need some more stone bricks too. I'll just show you. I've still got this full of cobble. That's almost done, and still got some smooth stone cooked out. So there's still a fair amount of materials for kind of heavy construction like that, which will probably be spent building the arch at the top there. So now comes the moment of trying to remember the exact shape that I was working with. What I should have done was taken a screenshot and put it on one monitor. Unfortunately, I didn't think to do that. I think there's also a case that I built the original. Yeah, that's wrong. I built the original one on the creative server in creative with flying. So I've not actually built it standalone, as it were, without having to think exactly what I'm doing. So let's grab some dirt to use as scaffolding. But if I remember correctly, oops, that was 3. Was it 3? Yes, it was 3. We want to do this first, so yeah, that was 2. So we create our pillars, which look really short to me. They look really short to me. I'm going to go check. Just double check. Okay, so I went to have a look, and I did start this off slightly wrong. I think the problem is that when I initially do that step, it always looks like it's going to start off a lot taller than it actually will be. Oops, no, wrong one. I remember when that was the sound. I actually preferred the kind of falling damage sound than the breaking your shin bone sound. I mean, I understand why they changed it, because it really makes sense that if you were... Well, I don't know, it kind of did make sense. I liked it. So, a lot of the way I build, I often find it tricky to remember exactly how I've built something, especially when it's symmetrical or requires a reasonably high level of detail. What I like to think, well, what I should do more, and what I always think that I do, is kind of take screenshots. If I build something in creative, obviously, but take screenshots and really think about what it is that I'm doing and plan it out. Often, however, this is not how it ends up going. Often, I just kind of throw some stuff together and see what comes out. Again, though, that doesn't look right. I think it's because I'm looking at it from a different direction. Yeah, no, there's an extra height that I'm not quite getting. Because this extra height really, as I said before, gives the clearance to see the impressive kind of scar that we've created. And it's a bit of a shame if, in the process of getting there, you kind of lose sight of it. It becomes sort of meaningless. So, there we go. One of the things I keep seeing, one of the things I've seen in construction, in Minecraft construction, is there's generally a lack of consideration of edges. Often you just get sort of buildings that come to a point or butt edges or similar like that, where there hasn't really been a thought to how the building ends, whether it comes to the ground or whether it comes to an edge or where it changes in a level. And I think if you want to improve your building style, I often find that sort of focusing on these areas where places connect to each other. I often use I often use stairs to identify and differentiate changes in levels. I think that's correct. Let's take a look at it. I think that's about right. Yeah. So I often use stairs to identify changes in levels, changes in sort of detail, that kind of thing. That's hanging down a lot further than I really want it to. This is the problem with building something creative and then taking it into a normal world and trying to rebuild it, is that you can always in creative just throw things down, break them without any downside. There's no real time constraints, no real time problems for rebuilding things over and over until you get it right, because it's just so quick and there's no material costs. But I think that's it. We have our first canopy of this bridge. I think on its own it looks a little bit odd. Let's go take a look at it from upstairs in here. I think the glowstone is going to go on the wall there. I think having them at the incremental distances, because they're going to be relatively far apart, it'll break up this bridge. Because currently it's quite a span that repeats, and there's not much granular detail. Each individual section of the bridge is quite detailed, but you sort of lose that sense of detail because it's all the same. Whereas with these structures, not only can they provide more light, in fact there should be a piece of glowstone here. Yeah, they add more light, they give a bit more context, they also give contrast with the materials and a bit more interest to the bridge. It kind of reads a lot more, kind of reads almost oriental with that actually, which I'm not necessarily against. I mean the house is sort of traditionally kind of a bit of a Western fantasy design, and they don't always gel particularly well with sort of Oriental fantasy, with sort of all the pagodas and that sort of thing. But I don't see a reason why they couldn't really work if done kind of supporting each other. So that's our first canopy. I will off camera construct the remaining ones, and I will give you an update of what that looks like when I'm completed. So I will see you in a little bit. And we are back. I've completed all of the canopies, and as far as I can tell, they're identical. Someone will probably point out some small errors somewhere along the line. I'm not completely happy with the amount of vision you get as you're walking through. I actually see an error there. Don't even know how that happened. It's not, the vision level isn't too bad. It's acceptable. I mean, it could be better, but there's not much you can do about it, really. But on the whole, I am reasonably happy with it. Just took a screenshot there. You probably recognise that screenshot, if I indeed use that one for the cover of the video. But as you can see, the further away you are from the end of the bridge, the more canopies there are between you and seeing the arch. So it kind of very slowly reveals itself as you go from arch to arch, from canopy to canopy. And it kind of almost frames it as you go through. Obviously, the closer you get, the more it takes up in your view. And it's almost like the difference between that and that, it almost seems to loom more as you pass under the canopy. So I'm reasonably happy with them. I'd like a little bit more detail around the top of these posts and also along the side. It doesn't look too bad when you're walking down the bridge, but I noticed that it's a meet out. When you are on the side of the bridge, looking at it from the side, there is a little bit there's not really enough detail on the side, especially lower down. So I might come up with a way of adding a bit more detail to this side here. Not entirely sure what I want to do with that, but I'd like to add some more detail. I might even just put sort of stone buttons on to look like almost like rivets, I guess, something like that. Hello, random bit of XP. But on the whole, I'm pretty happy with this bridge. Eventually I'll put in a basement to this building, in which I will put the starting point for our rail line. And again, on the other side, I'll have a terminus. I might actually make it so that it goes all the way into the town centre. So, yes, I have decided, partly at least, on a name for this, not for the island so much, but for the temple, tower, castle, citadel that's going on top of this outcrop. It has a little story with it. So, I'm recording this on the 18th of November. My birthday was yesterday, the 17th. And I went out and had some tea, very British, had some tea with my wife and her sister and her boyfriend. And it was very nice. And one of the teas that we tried was called Moon Palace tea. And I thought that's a really awesome name. So I'm going to call the castle, or the palace as it's now going to be referred to, the Moon Palace. I'm probably going to build it the top section out of quartz, and I will probably have it open to the sun/moon, and have some kind of moon-centric theme. I may also have a beacon somewhere in the depth that shines up off the top to give you a kind of moonbeam effect coming out the top. That kind of also fits with the vaguely almost oriental feel of the bridge canopies. I think Moon Palace sounds a bit like an oriental sort of themed thing. So I'll probably try and make it a bit more oriental than I would have done anyway. I'm going to jump from here. Whee! So yes, our bridge is now functionally complete. Like I say, there's little bits to change, there's little bits to add. It almost seems too clean at the moment with how it sort of ends, especially the lower down you go. What I might end up doing is, if you can see on the top section here, I have these slabs that stick out. The one thick slabs. I might do another run of them down the edge. So here, so it runs all the way down. Just to give this bottom level a little bit more edging, a little bit more detail. I think that might help it read better. I may also, as I say, use buttons. It's something I've seen a lot of people done. Let me start that again. It's something I've seen quite a few people doing. I wish it gave you more than one button, because you could get at least sort of 16 buttons out of one piece of stone. I mean, come on, really. Just looking at the scale of them. I mean, that is apparently the same kind of volume and context as that. So it says that, Mojang. Fix your game. Fix your game! There's also a slight problem here where there isn't actually a post supporting this post. I may actually go fix that now. Go grab some smooth stone brick and fix that now before I forget and kick myself in about 6 videos time and I remember. So that reminds me, yes, this is video number 10. And I've been recording now for about 3 weeks or something, so. I tend to record about 3 or 4 days apart or something like that, and I will record 2 or 3 videos at once. And then my release schedule is essentially 1 every 3 days. I'm going to say now, depending on the time frame of when these videos get released, that I will be starting a new series very soon, or releasing a new series very soon, of XCOM Enemy Unknown, Enemy Within even, which is an expansion pack to Enemy Unknown. It's a tactical based shooter, or a tactical based squad shooter. It plays a little bit like a tabletop war game, and it's all about strategy and tactics. And with this new expansion pack, I decided that it would be interesting to see what was new and if there was much interest in a playthrough. So hopefully we'll be seeing that soon on my channel. And yeah, thank you very much for joining me, and I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time. Oh yeah, please feel free to share and like and comment if you have any ideas for extra detail for the bridge. I would like to hear it. So yes, thank you very much. I will see you next time. Goodbye.